Welcome to a Get Keys with Kim production, where we discuss all things real estate, legacy and wealth building, community development, and engagement. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Spotify, and my website, as well as to share this podcast with your network. And just as a friendly reminder, this podcast should not be considered legal advice unless otherwise stated. Get Keys with Kim does not endorse, approve, recommend, or certify any information, product, process, service, or organization presented or mentioned in this podcast. I hope you enjoy. Hey, good people. Welcome back to another episode of Real Talk and Real Estate with your girl, Kim McBride, also known as Get Keys with Kim. All right. By the time you hear this message, we will be at the top of 2023. I don't know if you can even imagine that. Maybe you can, because December went so fast. I didn't even buy any gifts, y'all. Well, let me tell you something. I never buy gifts. Probably about 5 years ago, I told my kids we're going to make memories. I love Christmas. It's my absolute favorite holiday, but I love to travel. So I just give my kids gift cards with money on it. I give them their little boxes. They have new pajamas and socks and underwear and undershirts and a new bathrobe. We go skiing. We go out in the snow. So somehow all of that, I didn't even get a chance to do that because it just came so fast. So before we begin, let me say Happy New Year to you and welcome to 2023. We made it to the other side, y'all. Go ahead and give yourself a round of applause, okay? So I'm so excited to start this year off with a very special person. We have our first guest of 2023, Miss Shymeia Lee. So let me tell you a little bit about her. So Shymeia Lee is passionate about financial literacy. Before becoming a mortgage loan consultant, she was a licensed realtor, like mom, who serviced a diverse group of clientele. This helps set her apart from others in her industry and also helps her to create a detailed plan of action for each client. Helping her clients achieve the dream of home ownership fuels her daily. As a trusted advisor, Shymeia prides herself on providing a highly personalized service to guide you through every step of the mortgage loan process. It's all designed to exceed your expectations, which I love. That's like a little tagline now. Exceed your expectations, guarantee your satisfaction, and make it stress-free for all parties involved. Whether you're looking to buy, invest, refinance, or build, an experienced mortgage professional like Shymeia is here to help. Financing a home is one of the biggest, let me say it again, is one of the biggest commitments you will make in your lifetime. Let Shymeia help guide you throughout the entire loan process from application to close, and the best part, and beyond. Okay, so she doesn't just stop at closing, it's and beyond. So the next step is home ownership, y'all. So help me welcome Miss Shymeia Lee. Hi, Shymeia, how are you?
Thank you so much for having me, Kim. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here.
Yeah.
And I'm excited that we get to start off with this amazing topic. So our topic for tonight is getting mortgage credit ready. Yes. So I get the question all the time, like, what does my credit score need to be? What do I need to do? I'm going to pay off this debt before I do this. I'm going to call you once I do that. And I said, no, wait, let me get the expert. And I wanted to start out just giving you the floor. Did I miss everything? Did I get all the juicy stuff? Tell us a little bit about you.
You got it all. As you said, I'm a former real estate agent myself, like you, and then I transitioned into the mortgage industry in 2019. I'm a mama of 3 girls from Mama Girls. Yeah, 3 girls. I'm praying and people praying for me. But I absolutely love what I do. I feel like financial literacy is dear to me. I love just educating our community. And you said something very true. Like when people are trying to figure it out, the best thing to do is just reach out to an expert. That's the best thing you can do for yourself, because I feel like a lot of people don't move forward with home ownership because they're afraid or they're consumed by so much information. And so they just don't deal with it. And they say, I'm going to continue to rent. And most people who reach out, they're actually surprised at how easy the process is.
And I think that's the thing is, naturally folks, we do it with our health. We try to self-diagnose, right? We go to WebMD, we go to Google University, right? We're all Google scholars and we're like, okay, well, what do I need to do? Or people oftentimes assume whatever worked for them or worked for their friend will work for them when everybody
has their own kind of situation, right? It's not all cookie cutter. And that is one of the reasons why I really wanted to connect my audience to you, because I love the fact that you do that detailed plan, like that action plan. Whether someone is ready or not, like you're so patient and you're amazing. You're amazing. Shymeia and I met several months ago at a community event called Live Baltimore. And so Shymeia was one of the presenters and I was volunteering there as like a room monitor. And I had to sit through, I've sat through several presentations. I've been volunteering. I've been a realtor for almost 8 years and I've been volunteering with them for 7 years. So I've sat through a lot of different presentations and I was like, okay, yep, heard it. Great job. Way to go there, partner. Wonderful. But when I sat through Shymeia's presentation, like I was engaged. I mean, I was like, I'm learning things I didn't know. And that was just so exciting to be able to learn from someone else who's just so thorough in what they do and love. Like you ooze passion. Like I can, like it's in you. And I was like, I have to connect with her. I don't know in what way I'm going to connect, but I got to stay connected with her because I just loved your energy. I loved the information that you gave and you were so personable and you would stay after for questions and your presentation was lively. Like it had colors and it was sad. And I'm like, you go girl. I love it. So yes. So let me ask you this. So what made you switch from being a realtor to a mortgage consultant?
Yeah, so pretty much during that time when I made the switch, my children were younger at the time and my husband worked further down south. And so it was a lot on me to make sure the kids got everywhere. They were in 3 different school districts. And you're a real estate agent, you go take people to see housing and get to that third house and that's all they schedule. And then they go, oh, wait, there's one more that's right down the street. Or there's 2 more, and then you gotta get a show in town. You get it. And so it was a lot of juggling. I started to feel very overwhelmed, and I started feeling anxiety like I've never felt before. I was just trying to juggle so much. But I love the feeling that it brought people knowing that I helped them purchase the biggest purchase they'll probably ever make in their entire life. So I was just trying to figure out what could I do different to stay in this industry, and this just made sense. And the funniest part is that I have a degree in finance and banking. I had never used it.
I love it. I love it. I feel like everything we do in life does set us up for where we're supposed to go, whether it makes sense to us at that time. Yeah. Nothing we do is in vain. Most times. Most times. So that's interesting. I didn't know that about you. I did know that you were a realtor previously, but I do think that, like, in your bio, it says that it just sets you apart. Oftentimes, I work with lenders that are like, well, why are we doing this? Quick story. I won't put the lender out there. Okay. I will protect the not so innocent. But I was working with a lender and we were trying to work through some challenges with an appraisal. And so just being in the field a long time, I know the ins and outs and how to negotiate certain things. And so I made a suggestion to the lender and I said, how about we do this? The lender was adamant. Oh no, we can absolutely not. We can never do that. That's illegal. And I'm like, so you tell me what I've been doing at every lender I've worked with before this for the past 7.5 years, it's all been illegal. We've been, okay, call the cops because I had no idea, Oh, absolutely not. I mean, he was just adamant. No. He then had to call me back. My client ended up not going to closing because of it. He ended up coming back to me to say, oh, I spoke to someone that's above me. And you know what? He didn't want to say I was right. He was basically like, what you said makes sense if we could do it. Like, and I said, if you would have listened, at least been open to it. So just having someone that is familiar with the real estate field, but also knows their stuff. Like, I don't want to be the lender. I want to be the realtor. I want to help us to get to the closing table, help my client find the house of their dreams, or maybe their investment property or their piece of land, and then, Hail Mary it to you for you to manage it from there. So, I mean, it's just such a blessing that you have that experience on both ends. So
yeah, it definitely helps. It helps me too when I have my buyer consultation with the client. It helps me know or prepare them for what to expect. Like I always tell a buyer, hey, your real estate agent is not an Uber driver. They don't get paid to show you houses.
I wish we did. I'd be a millionaire. Okay? You wouldn't even see me behind this chair. I'd probably be in Central Pay somewhere. Okay?
And so it allows me to help make you guys' job easier when it's time to pre-approve them and send them back to you. And set realistic expectations. You know, when we talk about seller credit, when we talk about home inspections, appraisal, earnest deposit, I can set the tone and make it easier for you guys to pass them back off.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, every little bit helps. I'll do a whole nother episode, y'all, on the behind the scenes. It's going to take more than one episode to tell you the day in the life of a realtor. But every help that we can get, I'll take it. I'll take it. And so I just love that about you. I love the fact that I had a client that I wanted her to use Shymeia. And she was like, oh man, I'm already working with a lender. And I was like, do you love him? I mean, can we break up with this lender? Client came to me after the transaction was over. It was during the transaction, was just having some struggles. And she was like, well, I reached out to Shymeia. Shymeia was like, although we're not working together, I would love to just be a resource for you. I do want to reach out. Now let me say this. Let me put a TV timeout, a little pause right there. That does not mean, folks, that you go ahead and you already working with a lender. And then you're like, okay, I need advice. And then you're just going to call her and just keep getting free advice. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is her willingness to be able to assist. And it was because of her help that my client was able to get to the finish line, because that lender had no idea. Him and his team had different lender, had no idea what he was doing. And so just being able to have Shymeia on the sidelines, you know, we're running the play. We're on the field. I love football. So we're running the play, right? I'm Lamar Jackson. Hey. I'm trying to throw it to my buyer, who's Mark Andrews. And the buyer is dropping it because the coach, who's the lender, is over there is calling bad plays. And here we have up in the booth, Shymeia being our godsend, okay, coming through in the clutch to make sure that my client, who was not even her client, was able to get to the finish line. And from there, I was like, okay, I really can bang with you. I thought that your presentation was amazing, but just the customer service for that client was amazing. So thank you for that. I'm forever indebted to you.
Thank you.
Y'all, we're going to get into these 21 questions. I could sit and talk with Shymeia all day long, okay? But I know you guys want to get to the juicy stuff, so we're going to do something that we're calling 21 questions. It's 21 questions I have for Shymeia. However, with the way things are going with our conversation, it may be a little bit more. But if so, we'll just cut this into 2 parts, and you'll have to listen to both if you want the information. Okay? So we're going to start out with the basics of credit. So Shymeia, can you give us a little bit of information about what makes up a credit score? What is a FICO score? Like when people say, oh, I know what my FICO score is on. I don't know what exactly makes up a score, a credit score?
Yeah, so first, your FICO score is a 3-digit score that the bureaus use to identify you, right? So just think about when you're going to get money from someone, we're all getting money, whether we're getting a credit card, a car note, student loan, you know, a phone, we're all borrowing money. So that FICO score, again, it's a 3-digit score that you're given by each bureau: Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. It identifies your ability to repay money. It just shows your habits. It shows how responsible you are with money. So I always tell my clients that I have so many conversations. I really can have a reality show with these people.
But I'm the audience. Yeah. I'm there all day.
A lot of people will have their own idea of how borrowing money looks to them. And when you think about when you're buying a home, you're asking to borrow hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I think a lot of people don't think about that. So they'll be like, why does my credit score matter? Why does my employment history matter? It matters. But going back to that FICO score, your credit score is made up of different pieces of the pie, if you will. The biggest piece is 35% is your payment history. So late payments are really bad. A lot of people don't realize how bad a late payment can be. I had a colleague who had a client who had a late payment on a car note in the middle of a transaction, dropped the score 100 points and could not close. It's really scary. So 35% of your payment history, 30% is the amount you owe or credit utilization. So if you have $1,000 limit on your credit card, 30% of that is $300. Anytime you spend over $300, you're going over that 30% utilization rate. So 30% is the amount owed. Then you have 15%. That's the length of history. How long have you had credit? Most people are getting approached at 18 years old. As soon as you graduate high school, you start getting all of the mailers. Like, you've been pre-approved. That everybody gives you credit. For the length of history. Where that matters too is a lot of times when people are trying to fix their own credit, they close credit cards. Like, I'm going to close this card out.
And use it.
Yeah. But you mess up your length of history, which is 15% of your credit score. So you don't want to mess with that. 10% is new credit. So every time we open new credit, we're getting points or points deducted for that. So pretty much the bureaus don't want to see you opening up too much credit at one time. And the other 10% is credit mix. So installment and revolving. Installment is just a loan that has an end date. Like a car note has an end date. A mortgage has an end date. Student loans, personal loans, end date. That's installment. Revolving, it's just like a revolving door at Macy's. It's credit. Anytime you use it, it stays open. It never closes as long as you use it. And so that's what we call like your credit pie. But as you see, the most important is payment history. So people really want to make sure, that you're paying your bills on time. After 30 days late, you're being reported to the bureau. So not that I want to tell people to be late, but if you are going to be late, don't be 30 days late.
Don't be 30 days late. You're going to get that late fee, but it won't be on your credit.
But you won't be worth the bill.
Yes, and you could be using that late fee money as a down payment on your house. I'm just saying. Or to pay off other debt. Mm-hmm. No judgment here, though. I've been guilty of it a time or two in my life. All right, so let me ask you this. A quick story. I love a quick story. Yeah. Okay, y'all. I used to like to pay my car payment over the phone because I could never remember my login for that particular bank. And so one day, made the payment, and after the due date, I saw, I get the alert. It's usually Credit Karma that finds it first, but we're going to get into Credit Karma. Credit Karma was the first one to email me like, there has been a drop in your score. And I'm like, the devil is a liar, okay? I worked good and hard to get right here, okay? So when I look, 91 points, it dropped because of this late payment, but the payment wasn't late. Come to find out, the girl forgot to hit the enter button. Okay, she forgot to hit the enter button. Okay, for my payment. And so they were able to rescore it, go back to. So when they tell you that they can't do it, they lie. They're lying, and they're lying some more to you. So they were, most people are like, oh, well, if I have a late payment, can you go back and take it off my credit and the banks or whatever institution that you owe, the lender is like, no, I can't do it. They absolutely can. Yeah. They just don't want to, and they don't want you to know. But I'm not saying do that every time. This was legitimately their error, so they had to go back and make the correction. But to see that 91 point drop on a different conversation, different podcast, I will tell y'all the story of how I had to file bankruptcy, how my credit score was like a 350. Okay. So once I was able to get it right on up there, when I saw that 91 point drop, I was going to say I was going to blow up the building because I was going to blow up the building, y'all. But I'm just saying. Okay. So when it comes to late payments, so I know there are oftentimes folks are concerned with, oh man, I had a late payment 3 months ago. How far back does the late payment matter?
Yeah, so every 2 years, well, I won't say every 2 years. Anytime any type of derogatory event happens on your credit, whether it be a late payment, especially when someone's 90 days late, when you are 90 or more days late, it's horrible. You see how you had 91 points and that was probably considered a 30-day late. You don't ever want to get to 90 days. And we see that, unfortunately. But those late payments, they stay. Everything within 2 years is affecting your credit score the most. So what's this, 22. So since 2020 to now, anything that happened in that person's credit is going to stick with them for the first 2 years. And it's going to be the worst effect to your score. When you get into that third year, it starts to kind of dwindle down. It's not hurting the score as much. It's hurting the score, but not as much. So pretty much in the first 2 years, you want to make sure, like if you're looking to buy a home anytime soon, you don't want to have any derogatories on your credit, any late payments, high utilization, a bunch of inquiries. In case you don't know, I don't know if you're going to say this, but when you go get a car, I don't think a lot of people realize how many financial institutions they run you through. It's like 21. And it sounds crazy, but when we get people's credit report, we can always go, oh, did you get a car recently?
Every single time. That's why I started going to one institution. Yeah. You run it, give me my pre-approval.
Yeah. And people don't realize you can go to your bank or your credit union and use them. You don't have to go use the dealership's financing. What they do is they're running you through so many different creditors to see who's going to approve you. And if they don't get one, they just keep pressing that button and people don't realize, even though those are inquiries, they weigh on you. They weigh on the score. So you're going to be mindful.
So all 40 of them, so is it like, let's say it's 30 banks they run you through. You know, is it going to drop your score 1 point for everyone?
Yeah, no, it doesn't. But it's a lot of inquiries on the credit report. Not that matters because we're used to that. We understand when someone's shopping for a car, we're used to seeing that. However, if you're trying to apply for other items and you're having all these different inquiries and you're taking all these different hits,
right,
it does affect the score. Yeah.
Okay, so within 2 years. So let me ask you about for folks who either were laid off, had any type of break in employment, any type of concerns or challenges they had with their credit because of COVID. But it was in 2020, we're now in 2022, really 2023, baby, okay? Are they able to buy now? Or... because you're talking about the past 2 years, so is 2023 now the year that, yes, I'm out of that 2 years, or is it a case by case? Like, how do you look at post-COVID credit and finances and things like that?
Yeah, it's case by case, and because everyone's situation was different during COVID, right? Most people experienced employment issues, some people definitely did have some credit hits. Sometimes those were foreclosures or bankruptcies. So it depends. If a person experienced a bankruptcy, then yes, they would need to wait that 2 years for it to be, after the first date. So it's going to just depend on each person's specific situation. But we're really getting out of the woods of COVID, and I'm proud of it. I'm excited about that.
I'm ready to be on the other side. Like, we're on the other side of this.
Yes.
So excited about that. So we've talked about people that may have struggled with credit challenges. So what about those folks that do not have any credit? And why is no credit considered to be, let's put it in air quotes, bad credit?
Yeah, that's a good question because I have a lot more Gen X buyers, which is so exciting,
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's exciting because they're very bold. They're not afraid to take risks. And I love helping them because they just got it together. So what we're seeing with this new generation coming in is a lot of them want to buy homes but never have credit. Yeah, they've been living at home with their parents or they've been in school. Yeah, so they have no credit. But they think, I don't have any credit, so I'm good. But it's actually bad because it goes back to what the whole FICO score even means. It shows us your ability to pay. It shows us how responsible you are with borrowing money. But we can't see that because you don't have a history of that. So that's why no credit is bad credit.
It's that catch-22. I will tell you all a little tip. I'm not saying everyone should do this. I'm not giving advice in any way. But when my son turned 16, this is because I have good credit, folks. I'm proud to say it now because there was many a day. Forget a day. Many a years. Okay. I could not say that. So I have good credit. And when my son turned 16, I put him on 2 of my credit cards. Now, he did not know nor did he have access. So he was an authorized user on my cards when he was 16. My son's credit is like a 759. The boy has never, he's 21 now. And he's never, but I wanted to set him up. Yeah. You know, now, whether he's going to keep the credit, hopefully the good credit, he remembers the things that I have taught him, but I at least wanted to set him up. And this is part of that. So even if, my mama put you out there, mama, okay? So, okay. So I was raised in a household where credit was not as important. I was raised to be an emotional spender. Are you having a bad day? Go to Burlington. Go to Lord and Taylor. Go to Macy's. Go to Aldi's. Buy you some ice cream. Like that's how I was raised. Like when you're having a great day, go to Burlington. Go to Macy's. Go to Lord and Taylor. Like, so, I watched my dad, who was very much into finances, balance a checkbook. And then I watched my mom, like, just write the checks. And so I definitely, growing up, had more of my mom's side of the financial life. And I said, I just wanted something different. And even though balancing a checkbook is not my thing, budgeting is absolutely my thing. So I budget in my business, I budget in my personal life. And so I always suggest, like, you can break those habits. Just because you were not taught it, or just because you're learning it now does not, mean that you have to pass that on. And it doesn't mean that you are bound to what you did not know. Brush yourself off. You didn't know it, or you did know it and you were doing whatever you wanted to do anyway, but do better. So for those that are, whether they're building their credit because they don't have any, whether they have credit and it's not the best. I know oftentimes I've had people come to me like, I want an 800 credit score. Like, I just want a perfect credit score. And they're like, how do I get it? And I'm like, I have no idea. But what is like the best way, or what is the credit score that folks should be looking, like setting their gaze on?
Yeah. And I love that you said that because, credit is a little complicated to understand. It's simple yet complicated because they use algorithms and we really don't know what's in those algorithms, but we know what makes up the score, right?
Yeah. Can we just say it's the same algorithms for Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We just don't know, people. And it changes every day.
It changes all the time. And so a lot of people want it to be so black and white. Like, Shymeia, just tell me this. And it's like, it's an algorithm. We know the things that it wants, and that's all we can really do. And so I understand that people do want the best score possible. And I actually appreciate that people want the best score possible. You should. However, we don't need an A. Like, when you get to 740, 740 was like the good ceiling. When you're 740, you getting the proof in everything. I just avoid it. Like any and everything. Business credit, personal loans, credit cards. You've made it.
740. Did y'all hear that? 740, you have arrived.
You have arrived. You are here. After 740, it's just bragging rights. It's just bragging rights.
We want those too. We know it. But you don't need it for a house. Brag later.
You don't need it. Now, if you are buying a home, in my professional opinion, you do not want a score lower than a 640. You don't want to be lower than the 640, but a lot of people don't know. Yes, if you were to Google right now with an FHA loan, you will see a 580 credit score. And then a lot of people think that's, cool. Like you said earlier, people are getting the expert information from the colleague, from the auntie, their mom who was still 20 years ago. And so everyone's getting all this information, but the truth is you don't want to buy a home with a low credit score. It is the equivalent. So I know it's men and women here, but I'm going to talk to the ladies. It is equivalent to us ladies walking into a holiday party. It's New Year's, right? We in 2023.
Hey.
It's like you go into a New Year's party, you bought this dress just for the party, and you couldn't wait so long. When you get there and you see somebody with the same dress, it's like, who wore better? No,
right. You feel bad and bougie, but everybody look like you.
Right. But then you go talk to her, and you're like, oh my gosh, you got the same dress. I'm trying to like make light of it. And then she says, oh yeah, girl, I got this for $100 on sale. And you're like, I paid $200 for mine. Now I'm feeling some type of way. I'm not feeling this dress just as much.
Right, you don't love it anymore.
You do not want to buy a home and pay more than it's worth. And that's what you do when you buy with a low credit score. There are fees.
So wait a minute. So what I hear you saying, let me just break it down. So what I hear you saying is, you went to Gucci and Shein had the same belt. Baby! Now you're speaking my love language right here. Okay. Where are all my Shein lovers out there? I'm just saying. Okay, Shymeia, I'm sorry. Okay. So we were talking about that. You don't want to be at the 580. You don't want, at the 580 but paying premium prices.
You don't. You just don't. And because I care about people, I'm going to tell you that other people are like, yeah, you got a 580. Let's get you in there. You're going to pay more in fees and you're going to have a higher interest rate because you're a risk. Remember, credit tells us how liable or how reliable you are to pay us back. Everybody got that good uncle who's like, come on, Kim, let me get $20 time to pay. And you're like, you never gave me the last $20 I gave you, right? How likely are you to keep giving this person money if they have a hard time paying you back? And your credit score, unfortunately, let's keep it clear. Everybody has had life happen to them, right? And everybody is not. It's like you are not your number. You are not your credit score. However, you are a stranger. And so, because the lender doesn't know you, they look at your credit score to determine your responsibility.
So that's actually, I have a perfect follow-up question. I have run into couples where one person has been very vigilant or diligent with making sure that their credit is on par. And then the other one, maybe life has happened. So maybe the one that's been very vigilant with their credit makes pretty decent money, but not as much as the person that makes really good money, but their credit is, right? Because life happens. So one, can you explain away? Let's put that in quotes. Can you explain away life situations? And then how does that work when one person is really good credit-wise and the other person not so great, according to their credit report? Like, how do you work through those types of challenges?
That is a challenge, and we experience that a lot. Something I want all your listeners to know is that anytime you have more than one buyer on the loan, we're going to go with the lowest credit score between the two. So when it comes to your credit score, you have three, one from each bureau. When you're buying a home, your mortgage lender, we're only going by your middle credit score. There's no algorithm to that. It's literally the number in the middle. So if you have a 600, 690, 680, we're going with that 690. But if we have a second borrower, the second buyer on the loan, if their credit score, the middle credit score is the only one we're paying attention to, if their middle credit score is lower than yours, we're going with the lowest between the two. And so a lot of people, of course, that scenario you describe is actually real. We deal with that a lot. And I think the more money people do, kind of the more they spend. And so we see it a lot. And it does create some issues because, one, we're going to go with the lowest. And a lot of people are like, why would you go with the lowest? That don't make any sense. It does. Think about it. This is a risk. You're borrowing hundreds of thousands of dollars. If it's two of you, I'm going to go with the worst of the two. Because if I can deal with the worst of the two, the good one, I already know you won't take care of this. Yeah, I need to make sure the person with the lowest. So unfortunately, we do have to use the lowest between the two. And some people may decide, okay, let's move my husband since his score is lower, right?
Like Beyonce. So y'all are when I say y'all, I mean lenders, are the antithesis of Michelle Obama.
Oh my.
So when they go low, you go lower. Okay, I see what's happening here. So how do you navigate that in relationships? So is it just taking one person off? Is there enough time to potentially assist the other person with getting their credit up? Like how does that work?
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that because it depends on the time that they have. And this is why people who are listening to your podcast need to put this on repeat. and share it with others. Really, like, let's get the word out. Don't wait till the last minute. Because what happens is, if we have time, we're going to devise a plan for he or she to raise their score so that they can stay on the loan and they can qualify for more of a purchase price. If I have people, which I have, and they'll say, well, I got to get out in 30 days. Well, it's not that we can do to help you raise your score in 30 days. It takes 30 to 45 days for the creditor to report, let alone you raise your score. And so that's why giving yourself time, educating yourself, reaching out to yourself or an expert like a lender to understand the process ahead of time, it really makes for a smooth transaction. It really makes for a fun experience. And so pretty much, if you have two people, if you have one with lower credit score, we can either take them off and they're not a part of the mortgage, or we can devise a plan to help them raise their score so they can stay on the loan and qualify for a higher purchase price.
Gotcha. So it's really case by case on how long it'll take for someone to build up their score. But 30 days is probably, that's a stretch.
Yeah. It depends what happens there. I don't know. What did you do? What is the reason that your score is so low? You know what I mean?
And I get that often. I try to tell everyone, like, you'll pull your credit to get that store credit card and to get that 15% off, and you'll pull your credit to get that new phone so you don't have to pay, all of it up front. But you won't go to a lender who can actually give you guidance, not just to purchase, because credit affects all areas of your life. It's not just, unfortunately, it's our social security number of credit, right? Like that, like Shymeia said in the beginning, it is how we are identified. And so what's tough there is just like, why are you doing this alone? Like, why not go to the hospital and get help? Like, and sometimes you get a Band-Aid and they send you home. And then other times they have to rush you into emergency surgery, whether you knew you were going down that route or not. Like, why not just take the time? Just know. But I do understand and can relate to the fact that sometimes knowing is scarier than not knowing.
True.
Right? As long as I'm oblivious, I don't have to have accountability. I don't have to worry. I don't have to feel bad. Right? I don't have to work towards, or I don't, whatever the case might be. But I've been like, don't be like me. I used to call myself an ostrich. I would literally stick my head in the sand whenever something bad would come, because I was just afraid of making the wrong move. Oh, I don't want to pull my credit because then it's going to drop. It already sucked, girl. Get help. Why are you waiting till you bleed out financially and credit wise to then be like, okay, now I want, and then you want to go to, credit restoration companies and you're paying $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, $700, $800 a month and up for them to restore your credit when someone can help you work through it for free. And then at the end of it, you have something to actually show for all the hard work you've put into it. I'm just saying. Don't waste your time.
And that's a wrap, folks. Looking forward to you guys tuning in another 2 weeks for a new episode of Real Talk and Real Estate with your girl, Kim McBride. Have a great day.